Hi everyone! I hope you're having a great IGE day. My name is Jessica Tetzner, and I graduated from SIUE in 2019 with a degree in computer science, and nowadays I am a software engineer. Now, you might be wondering what a software engineer does, and that's okay because I'm here to tell you. So, as some of you probably guessed, one of my main jobs as a software engineer is writing code. Me personally, I primarily write code that automates processes to make it easier for other people in my company to do their job. The best example I can think of this is, say there's another department who has to write a bunch of reports. And in these reports, they have to gather a bunch of data. So they have to type in a bunch of commands, do a bunch of searches, find exactly the statistics they're looking for. Yuck, I know. Well, they would come to my team and they would say, hey, do you think you can make this faster? So we would talk back and forth with them to make sure we're building our code correctly to reflect the report they're expecting. And in the end, after my team is done, they would have a tool that would allow them to collect all of this data in one place. And it would take maybe 10 minutes instead of like 4 hours. So that's what I do. That's just one part of software engineering. There's many other fields out there. I mentioned I write code, and there's a process to writing code. One of the main parts of the process is design and documentation. So when I design code, I want to come up with an initial idea and then present it to my team. So I talk to my team and I say, this is what I'm thinking. Do you think this is the best way? And this communication is super important because some other team members might have a great way of doing my task that I hadn't even considered before. It is really important that you talk to your team and find the best way to write your code because you don't want your code to break. And other team members just bring such a different perspective to the table that sometimes they really help you figure out the best way to write your code with ideas you hadn't even thought of. So along with this design process, I also have to document it. I have to make sure that I am communicating to everybody, hey, this is what I'm doing, this was the thought process, these are the ideas I even rejected because I thought this process was the best. So it's really important to write that all down and make sure people understand what you're trying to design when you are writing code. Most people don't think about that part of the coding process, but it's really key to have a successful product, is to write down what you're thinking and clearly present your design and communicate with your team about the design. So I write code, I talk to my team a lot to make sure I'm building my code the best way, and another part of my job is called debugging. When you write code, it's like fitting pieces of a puzzle together. There are so many parts that intricately fit together, and if you just miss one slip, your code breaks. And that's called a bug. So when we have an error in our code, or our code stops working, it's a bug. And to get rid of the bug, we debug. So there are many ways to debug code, but it kind of boils down to going line by line and finding out where your code is breaking. And trust me, this process can take a long time. It takes a lot of patience sometimes to debug your code. It can be long and difficult, but it is satisfying in the end when you finally fix your code. It's like putting that last piece in the puzzle. So in my day-to-day, I write code, I talk with my team, and I debug. There's a lot of other aspects that go into software engineering, but this was just a brief overview. If you're interested in learning more about coding, go to code.org. They have some great resources for kids your age to start learning about coding, and I highly encourage it if you like puzzles or math or logic, because coding is super fun and really enjoyable. I think that's all I have for you today. I hope you learned a little bit about software engineering and continue to learn more about all types of engineering the rest of your day. All right, thanks everyone. Have a great rest of your IGE day.